Welcome to my video. I'll trust you'll find it helpful and informative. Please remember to like and subscribe. Thank you.
Good morning, guys. In the previous video, we had a look at the economic order quantity, and I had a look at the theory by doing that presentation for you. Now we are going to look at how the question on the economic order quantity is asked in a sample assignment, and then you can expect something very similar in your online Mackie assignment. So it tells us here that a coffee roastery estimates that it will have an annual demand of 440,000 bags of coffee beans, which it will purchase from a distributor in Pretoria. The purchase price of one bag of beans amounts to 44 Rand plus an additional 1 Rand in freight charges per unit. The company borrows funds at 12% interest rate to finance inventories. The purchasing agent has calculated that it costs 550 Rand to place an order for coffee beans, and that the handling fees amount to 3 Rand for each bag of beans. And then we have those 7 things that we have to calculate. First one, calculate the number of bags to request in each order. We know that that is the economic order quantity. Then secondly, calculate the annual number of orders at the economic order quantity. And each time they say, do not round off your answer. Calculate the total annual ordering cost at the economic order quantity, round it to 2 decimals. Calculate the total annual carrying cost at the economic order quantity. Remember, at the economic order quantity, we expect those two to be exactly the same. Then determine the order size decision if the distributor offers a 2% discount of the purchase cost, excluding the delivery price for minimum orders of 30,364 bags of beans, and assuming sales are uniform throughout the year. And now we are working with 360 days, and the lead time is 11 days. Determine the reorder point at the economic order quantity level. And then lastly, what is the financial consequence if only 2 orders are placed for the year instead of ordering at the economic order quantity level? Good. Let's go have a look at it. So what I've done here, like I always do, is I've summarized that information for you in a little table, and then just to try and keep it to a certain breadth, I have written down the question, and then we're going to answer the question. So there's 1, 2, and as I scroll down, you will see the rest. Okay, so calculate the number of pairs to order. So what do we start with? Well, obviously, we start with the formula for economic order quantity. And just a note there, please look that we're using H plus P plus I. Why? Because we are financing our inventory. Okay, so the second thing we do is we simply replace the values. Then the next thing that'll happen is we will have the answer. Okay, so that's the answer, calculated. Okay, please note here that if I put the answer here, I just see how the formula was used in Excel. You are not using Excel. You must be sure that you keyed in correctly on the calculator that you are using. So in sequence calculator, you will put in the square root sign, bracket, 2 times whatever your annual demand is, multiply by whatever your ordering cost is, divided by second bracket. Why? Because you are dividing everything under the bracket with everything above the bracket by everything under the bracket, and then you want to apply the square root to all. That is why you must place these little brackets in the correct place. But in any case, that is the answer. Okay, and we are told do not round, so we are not going to round. Okay, then it says calculate the annual number of orders at the economic order quantity. So once again, first thing that you do is you put down your formula. Okay, then the second thing that you do is you replace the values in the formula. That will give you an answer, and in this case I stuck to the 6 decimal points. I know they say don't, but really if you have 6 decimal points and you work to rand and cents, your two amounts are still going to be exactly the same. So I think I was still thinking of the previous time when we had to work with six decimal points, so I stuck to the 6 decimal points. Then the third thing is we are now going to total the annual ordering cost. By the way, this is just the number of orders. It is the ordering cost, the annual ordering cost, and the annual holding cost that we expect to be exactly the same. That is why I kept it on the same line here. Okay, so you know it's impossible to place 57.9655 orders. What are you going to do? Well, you are going to place 58 orders. And here also, when you look at how many are you going to order, obviously you are not going to order 5790 point something. You are going to order 5791. That's the real world. But remember, for the purpose of your calculation, stick to these amounts that is rounded to 6 decimal places. Okay. Now, when we have to calculate the total annual ordering cost, we do the same thing again. We start by putting down the formula. Okay. Then we simply replace the values in the formula and we get to an answer, and this answer is expressed in rand and cent. And so we see that our total annual ordering cost, if we take the annual number of orders that we've just calculated and we multiplied it with a given order cost of 550, gives us 31,881. When it comes here to our annual carrying cost, once again, we put in the formula first. We know that H is extended to include the purchase price multiplied by the financing cost. That's why we have that in there. And then, of course, we calculate it. And if we did everything correct up to here, these two amounts here will be exactly the same. Good. Now they say, determine the order size decision if the distributor offers a 2% discount off the purchase cost, excluding the delivery price, for minimum orders of 1,428 pairs. So when we look at the economic order cost, order quantity, we say, okay, we know what the purchase cost is. Okay, it was calculated by saying the annual demand multiplied by the price at which we are acquiring it. That is just over 19 million. Okay. As far as our freight costs are concerned, well, it is the annual demand multiplied by that freight cost that was given to us. And of course, that is 440,000. We don't have to worry too much about the order cost and about the holding cost because we have just calculated both of them above here. So in both cases, we can just put in those amounts, the 31,881 there and the same amount there. And then what we do is, of course, to get to the total cost, we simply add them up. Okay, so that is at the economic order quantity. So now what happens if we accept this 2% discount for 30,364 bags? Well, once again, we have the purchase cost. Now the purchase cost here will change. Okay, and look what it is changing to. It is still the annual demand multiplied by the price, but now we are going to multiply it with 1 minus the discount percentage. Now, why on earth am I sitting here with a 12%. Now, let me just go and see if I fixed it here. I did fix it properly on the calculation side. It is just here. I must fix it. It's not 0.01. It is 0.12. It is 0.02. Here, the calculation, what's going on here? Here, the calculation was done correctly. As you can see there in the formula, I said minus 0.02 or 2%. If you want to put in 2% instead, that is fine. You must know how your inline calculator works. Okay, so it is slightly less. Instead of paying 19.36 million, we're only paying 18.97 million. Okay, needless to say, the freight cost will not change. It will be the same because we were specifically told to exclude it. So it stays the same. What about our order cost and our holding cost? Well, we now have to recalculate these. So in terms of our order cost, we will now say, okay, it is our annual demand divided by these amount of bags that were given, multiplied by the order cost, of course, that we know. Just reminding you there, we know what our order cost is. It's 550. And then we put it in there and we get the calculation. And it's good news. It is way less than the order cost as we expect. I can tell you already that you must expect that this holding cost is now going to be considerably more because we're keeping a lot more units in stock at a time. Okay, so we use once again the 45 times 0.12 plus H, because remember we are financing it. So everything that we did here when we calculated the annual carrying cost for at the economic order quantity, we now do it for here, the holding cost here. And now we have a look at what it is. And it is 127,000, which is way more than it used to be. But what happens if we add it all up? It is still a little less. Well, I say a little less. It's a good 300,000 less. So what is the effect here? What's happening? What happened? Wait. It is cheaper to accept the discount by how much? We can calculate it, the 19,863 minus the 19,548, and it is cheaper, or if we accept the discount, by 315,000 Rand. So that is pretty good. Then it says to us, number 6, assuming sales are uniform throughout the year, and this time we are using 360 days, and the lead time is 11 days, determine the reorder point. So what are we going to do? We are going to put in the formula. Something is a little wrong here. Let's just see why it is not. Oh, I just left that line open. That is why. So we know that the reorder point is the annual demand divided by the number of days multiplied by the lead time. So what we do is we simply go and we replace that values there, and then we get an answer there, and we see that our reorder point is at 13,444. Okay, so when we reach that level, we have to order. Okay, what is, they say to us now, the financial consequence if only 2 orders are placed for the year instead of ordering at the economic order quantity level? I know that this number here of 13,444 is bothering some of you. It bothers me as well. It's not wrong. It's the correct value, the correct number. But practically, it will have an implication that doesn't form part of the question, but I am going to explain it to you. Okay, so what is the financial consequence if we only place 2 orders? Well, first thing we need to realize is there is no discount. So obviously, the purchase price and the freight cost will stay exactly the same. So the only thing we have to do is we have to look at the ordering cost and the holding cost for both the economic order quantity that we know and the cost of 2 orders that we still have to calculate. So for the economic order quantity, we calculated it, they were the same, and we know what the total is. But in the case of the 2 orders, well, if we're only placing 2 orders at 550 Rand, then needless to say, it will be very cheap. But we can expect a way more expensive carrying cost, because our holding cost is 3 Rand per unit plus 45 Rand the purchase price multiplied by 12%, which is, remember, our inventory financing rate. And then we're going to multiply that with our annual demand divided by 2 for the 2 orders and divided by 2 to get the average. So don't confuse here that I've used divided by 2. The first 2 is because we're working with 2 orders. The second 2 is to get to the average. And as you will see, it's almost R1 million just in carrying cost. And so it is way more than at the economic order quantity. So in this case, we can say, listen, it is more expensive to place, say it's 6 orders here. Remember, it should be 2 orders. Sorry, guys. It is much more expensive to place 2 orders by, and there's your amount, 861,337.94. Okay, way more expensive. But now let's deal with the elephant in the room. Okay, I've given you a note here. This note, you don't have to put it down, but I always appreciate it if you actually know how you would apply this in the real world. The reorder point of 13,444 is more than your economic order quantity of 7,590. Okay, which would complicate things severely in the real world. Okay, you'll have to I don't know, at some point you will have to build up additional stock so that you can order the 7,000 bags the moment you reach 13,000. It's just not viable. Anything happens, you're in trouble. If you've got a late delivery, you're in trouble. So you don't want to do that. Okay. Yeah, making it even more viable to accept the discount, because if you have the discount, if you accept this discount, let's just go back here to the discount, then you are buying 30,000 bags at a time. That is, of course, way more than the 13,000, so it is okay. So you will buy 30,000, they will come into your storeroom, and the moment your stock level reach 13,440, you will place an order. Okay, so if you get the discount, that is great. Furthermore, 58 orders. I remember 58 orders was what we said is the amount of orders that we would have to place at the economic order quantity. 58 orders is an order every 7.5 days. So that doesn't make sense. How are you going to order every 7.5 days? What's if on a weekend, holiday, things like that? Okay, practically, what will you do? Placing an order of about 17,000 bags twice a month. When the reorder level of 13,444 is reached, that will make more sense. So if you're cost accounting in a company, and this is the information that you're giving, you will go through this entire process that we've gone through now, and you will do the calculation, and then you will say, okay, guys, if you can organize as the discounts, you're speaking to the buyers, and you're saying to them, if you can organize as a 2% discount, it will be okay. We can accept it, and it will be less than our cost at economic order quantity. Okay, that's great. If you can't, I think the best way to do it is if we order 17,000 bags twice a month. So please remember, the calculations is one thing, common sense is another thing, and really to be a good cost accountant, you need to be able to do both. Thank you, guys. Hope you enjoy that. This is similar to the layout that you will have in your online assignment, so you are good to go. Thank you. Thank you for watching this video to the end. If you found it valuable, please subscribe and like. Thank you.